violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
An Ithaca woman is missing right now, and police think she might be a kidnapping victim. Tatiana David is thought to have been taken early this morning. She was last seen on West Hill Circle in Ithaca just before 7:30. State police think she is now in danger. She is described as a black woman with brown eyes and black hair, which is in braids and in a bun. She is 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighs about 180 pounds. She was last seen wearing a light gray, knee-length coat with fur trim on the hood and black sweatpants.
More information about a deadly officer-involved shooting that happened on I-95 late Wednesday night. Virginia State Police have now identified the woman passenger who died. They believe it was this woman you see here on your screen, Tatiana David, who was reported as a missing person in New York yesterday morning. Police also say the driver was a wanted abduction suspect. DC News Now's Lex Juarez has the latest update from the scene.
A shootout between the driver and state troopers happened right over there on the side of I-95 southbound. And
So this woman, Tatiana David, was abducted by this super gremlin, and he decided to have a shootout with the police, which ended her life abruptly. Very sad story. We're gonna listen up for more details, but this is pretty much par for the course in the community. Like I said before, women and children, it doesn't matter. Anybody can get it in the community, and that is something that we are being shown time and time again on this channel.
Led to the highway being closed overnight and traffic congestion. Virginia State Police have identified the driver as a 34-year-old man from North Chesterfield, Virginia. He was hurt in the shootout and was taken to Inova Fairfax Hospital. The passenger, 34-year-old Tatiana David, died at the scene. David was reported missing in Ithaca, New York earlier this week. VSP says the driver was the wanted abduction suspect in that case. And before the driver crashed the car into the woods and started to shoot, troopers tried to pull him over because of improper registration and incorrect license plates. The driver sped away and ended up crashing about 20 miles down the interstate. Troopers say as they approached the car, the suspect started shooting at them, and they shot back. The suspect has life-threatening injuries and is being treated. No police.
And it's crazy that, you know, obviously he has life-threatening injuries and he may not live past today, but the innocent woman, her life was taken out, and it just goes to show that it really doesn't matter how good of a person you are in the community. You can always find your way into some trouble, and it's just sad.
Police were injured in the shooting, and the troopers involved are on administrative leave. VSP is now working with New York law enforcement on the abduction case. Charges are pending at this time. In Prince William County, Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
34-year-old Tatiana David was reported missing out of Ithaca, New York last night. Police say she was last seen with 35-year-old Micheal Davis, who was driving a white Jeep Cherokee.
And I'm very curious as to what their relationship was. They do have a similar last name, not exactly the same. And he could have, you know, just randomly picked her up. But, oh, man, I mean, it does make you wonder how they even knew each other and how they even come across each other.
Last night, Virginia State Police saw a white Jeep Cherokee with wrong license plates. They initiated a chase. They say the driver initially stopped but then sped away, hitting a guardrail at one point, speeding south on I-95, and finally crashing into the woods here near exit 148 in Prince William County. Investigators say as troopers approached the SUV, the driver began shooting at them. State and Fairfax County police returned fire. We obtained the radio communication between troopers and dispatchers of the moment shots were fired. We do not know who exactly is firing the shots. We do want to warn you, this audio may be hard to listen to.
Hey, we need a shield. We need a shield.
Dang.
We hear the shots fired.
Tatiana David, the kidnapping victim, was killed. The driver, who Virginia State Police have only identified as a man from Chesterfield, Virginia, suffered life-threatening injuries. Virginia State Police say a gun was found in the Jeep after the shooting.
Started early Wednesday morning in Ithaca, New York. State police there say just before 7:30 a.m., 34-year-old Micheal Davis forced 34-year-old Tatiana David into his white SUV against her will. Now, court documents show that the two actually lived together here in Chesterfield back in 2019.
And there you have it. They lived together, obviously. Maybe, it sounds like a begrudged lover. Oh, man. I really don't understand how these sisters continue to deal with these homicidal super gremlins and are not able to see the signs. But we all know that a lot of times these sisters are actually attracted to the indicators of demon time, as I like to call it. And they're willing to overlook these negative personality traits because that is what is admired in the community. That is what is sought after in the community, being thuggish, rugged, having that slang about you, being disrespectful, right? That not giving an F attitude. A lot of sisters are attracted to that. And this guy obviously was bad news, but, the sister was not able to see past that, and it ended up costing her a life.
And the day that Davis allegedly abducted David, he was spotted driving south in Northern Virginia. Police initiated a traffic stop and he fled, and that's what caused that pursuit to start. This is the aftermath of a 20-mile-long pursuit along I-95 South in Northern Virginia Wednesday night. The incident still being investigated Thursday afternoon. Virginia State Police say 34-year-old Micheal C. Davis of Chesterfield abducted 34-year-old Tatiana David Wednesday night. Authorities say they were in a previous relationship and had a 4-year-old child together.
Dang.
Just before 10 p.m., Virginia State Police stopped a white SUV for having improper registration, the wrong license plate, and for its ties to the abduction case. During the stop, Davis, the driver, drove away, starting the pursuit, eventually veering off the road and crashing into the woods near exit 148 in Prince William County. Then, shots ring out.
We need a shield. We need a shield.
We hear the shots fired.
Police say the suspect opened fire on them and they returned the fire. Davis was critically injured and transported to a nearby hospital. David was, quote, located deceased outside the vehicle at the crash location with a gunshot wound.
Damn.
Now, charges are still pending in the abduction case, and per state policy, all troopers involved in the pursuit were put on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation, and none of them were injured. Now, we still don't know whose bullet actually struck Tatiana David. Her cause of death is still under investigation, and yesterday was supposed to be a day for her to celebrate. It was her 34th birthday. In Chesterfield, I'm Elizabeth Holmes, CBS 6 News.
Yo, what's good, BGZM News 17 family? I'm at the corner of Jesse Jackson and Marcus Garvey, and I got some bad news for you. As you can see, I lost my job. I'm out here living in cardboard boxes outside of boarded up vacant homes. YouTube said I'm done getting money out here in these streets. They even took my funky ass suit. So anything right now would help. So go ahead and hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that GoFundMe, hell, cop the merch. Or if you want to make the long-term commitment to the Jinquavius Jackson Fund, join the Patreon so that I can continue to put out top-notch content each and every day. Also, check out the Rumble, where there is absolutely no censorship. Link in the description box below.
Hey, yo, ain't that nigga did Quavius? Yo, I recognize.
No, that's not me no more.
Hey, yo, run your pop.
Y'all killing me with this shit.
Do the opposite of Antonio Brown and take
What more do you want from me?
This is Tatiana David. Her family described her as a bright light and a beacon of hope. Now they're asking questions about how she died and who is at fault.
Yeah, as you know, we first started following this late last night. It began with an attempted traffic stop on I-95 in Springfield. The driver led police on a high-speed chase 20 miles south before crashing and then firing at police. Officers found Tatiana inside of that car dead. Well, today we also learned she was not in that car voluntarily, but she was kidnapped. And we just learned 30 minutes ago that the driver is being still.
She cold. I mean, kidnapped by her baby daddy. And it almost seems like they're trying to potentially hold the police officer accountable for her death. Obviously, you know, we're going to have to evaluate who actually shot the fatal wound that deleted her. But at the same time, either way, this was caused by her baby daddy. So obviously the police officers are being put on leave, but they did what they had to do in order to stop this maniac.
Is being treated for life-threatening injuries from that shootout, I should say.
And Evan Kozlov has been reporting on this since this morning. He joins us with the latest.
The shootout happened right here along I-95 in the Quantico area, and it snarled traffic for over 15 hours. Virginia State Police say that the driver was shot right here on I-95.
I mean, this guy literally gets in a shootout with police out a mile outside of the FBI headquarters. Whew. I mean, these guys are just... I don't know what type of the level of stupid you have to be.
And brought to the hospital, but it was his passenger, who police say was abducted, that lost her life right here on the roadway.
She's a military veteran, served her country, did nothing but good in life. She was an amazing person. Everyone that came across her loved her.
Emmanuel Espada, the brother of Tatiana David, expressing the family's deep sadness in an exclusive conversation with our Marcella Robertson.
All she did was put good out there in the world.
New York State Police says the 34-year-old mother of a 4-year-old was abducted by gunpoint in Ithaca, New York, and forced into a Jeep Cherokee. Police say the suspect was Micheal C. Davis, who the family says is the father of Tatiana's child.
This is sickening. You know, she was such a bright light. She was such a beacon of hope. And now she has her life taken away from her for what?
So another case of the worst of us taking out the best of us. And my question is, man, how did she let this man impregnate her? I'm sure he had red flags flying all over the place. Sometimes, and I'm not trying to victim blame here, but I mean, sometimes I just don't get the mate selection when it comes to these sisters, bro.
The car was tracked down just south of the Beltway by Virginia State Police on Wednesday night, some 14 hours after the abduction. Police stopped the car when they noticed it had the wrong plates. After troopers identified Davis as the suspect, he sped off, heading southbound on I-95.
Vehicle just wiped out behind the Jersey wall.
Miles away in the Manassas-Dumfries area, the car crashed into a guardrail before heading back onto the highway.
It was back on the road.
Then, by Quantico, Davis pulled off into the woods, and according to police, he started shooting.
We need a shield. We need a shield. Start EMS.
Virginia State Police say they did return fire. And while Davis was brought to the hospital with his injuries, Tatiana would die right there along I-95. At this time, Virginia State Police told us they're investigating how Tatiana died and whether she was shot by either Davis or the state troopers.
Reporting here along I-95.
And hopefully she was shot by Davis. Otherwise, we won't hear the end of it.
Evan Kozlov, WUSA 9.
And now Tatiana's family is asking why Virginia State Police engaged in this high-speed chase and if that's even allowed under VSP policy.
That's wild. Now they're questioning the police as to why they stopped a kidnapping in progress. You got to be kidding me.
So we verify. Our source, the Virginia State Police policy. Our team read through it. it does allow the chasing of vehicles, but officers are urged to weigh the potential harm caused by both the pursuit of a vehicle and the driver getting away.
Some other breaking news right now about a story that started following late last night, a police chase in Virginia and a shootout on the side of I-95. Here's a live look right now from Sky 9 as crews work to move that car from the tree line along the highway. We're learning that the woman found dead in the car involved was a kidnapping victim. Now, this started with an attempted traffic stop on I-95 in Springfield and ended about 20 miles south with a shootout near the Quantico exit. Our Evan Kozlov has been tracking this morning's fast-moving developments. He joins us live along I-95 with the latest. Evan?
Well, hi there, Larry. Yeah, and at this hour, traffic is still a bit of a mess here on I-95. Over my left shoulder, you could probably see that there is a police presence that's causing all the delays as these cars are moving slower going down the southbound lanes. And just within the last 45 minutes, you were hitting on some of this. We got some brand new information and some more clarity about what happened, including the identity of both the driver and the passenger. Why don't we show you the photo of the driver first? This is according to New York State Police. They tell us the person's name is Micheal C. Davis, 34 years old, from the Richmond area. Like you said before, he's accused of abducting an adult woman in Ithaca, New York, around 7:30 yesterday morning. And according to police, that victim was 34-year-old Tatiana David. We had some photos that were shared with us by her family. So let's break down quickly what happened here. The shootout was here by exit 148 near Quantico. The driver fired at troopers and then troopers fired back. But the driver was injured and flown to the hospital, whereas the passenger died at the scene. Again, that's Tatiana that we were talking about. It actually started some 20 miles north of where I'm standing, though, in Fairfax County by exit 167. Troopers pulled over the Jeep Cherokee because it had a wrong license plate and then quickly identified the driver as the abduction suspect. That's when the driver sped off, eventually leading to that crash and that shooting. Now this...
And there are actually laws in Philadelphia where you can't pull somebody over if they have the wrong plates or late registration. These are things that you pretty much can't do. You know, it's really wild out here, but this is the type of lawlessness that is being normalized.
This afternoon, we're learning a lot more about that victim. Our Marcelo Robertson spoke with Tatiana's brother. His name is Emmanuel Espada, and he told us that she was a mother of a 4-year-old, and she was abducted at gunpoint yesterday morning. They're absolutely heartbroken. Take a listen.
You know, she was such a bright light. She was such a beacon of hope. And now she has her life taken away from her for what? That's not fair. You know, all she did was put good out there in the world. She never harmed anybody she came across.
Just heartbreaking to hear him speak about his loved one right there. And again, as you saw from Sky 9, some of the current conditions, the traffic continues here on the southbound lane. Now, one big question at this hour is how exactly Tatiana died. I did ask Virginia State Police this morning whether she was hit by a bullet, and if so, who fired that bullet. Was it the driver? Was it police? At this hour, they told us that that is still under investigation. So that's one of the big questions. Meanwhile, the family's frustrating, saying that the system failed Tatiana by not recognizing these signs of domestic violence. For now, I'm reporting here along I-95. I'm Evan Kozlov, WUSA.
No doubt, a disturbing set of facts, and hopefully we get some more answers throughout the day. Evan Kozlov reporting live for us this afternoon. Evan, thank you so much.
News. What started with a woman's abduction in upstate New York ends with a police chase and a shootout in Northern Virginia.
That suspect is a Chesterfield man, 35-year-old Micheal Davis, in the hospital tonight after that shootout on I-95 in Prince William County overnight. His alleged captive was killed.
State police say Davis led them on a high-speed chase, then opened fire when they pulled him over. Desiree Montilla standing by live at State Police headquarters with the very latest. Walk us through what happened here, Desi.
Well, Kurt and Micheal, first, we're still working to learn new details about this case, including the suspect's ties to the Chesterfield area. New York State Police tell us the suspect used to be in a relationship with a woman he allegedly abducted in New York.
You know, and we really need to have these sisters, some type of guidance needs to be assisted to these sisters in order to help them choose the correct mate, because this type of stuff is happening way too often, and I just don't understand how over and over again we see the same things happening. And a lot of these sisters, it seems like they're just laying down with anybody. You know, like this dude, from the pictures that I've seen, he looked bummy as hell. And she's, you know, I mean, she's a cute girl. She definitely had some work to do on her body and stuff. But, man, it's looking bad out here.
A police pursuit ends with a shootout along I-95 in Prince William County between Virginia State Police troopers and a Chesterfield man accused of abducting a woman from New York on her birthday. On Wednesday morning, New York State Police sent out an alert for Ithaca resident Tatiana David. A witness told authorities they saw David being forced into an SUV by a man who New York State Police identified as Micheal Davis. The two were previously in a relationship and have a 4-year-old child. Then Wednesday night, more than 300 miles away in Fairfax County, Virginia State Police spotted the suspect's car displaying wrong license plates. During a traffic stop along I-95, VSP said the car sped away, hitting a guardrail at one point before crashing into the woods near the Quantico exit. As troopers approached the SUV, New York State Police said the driver of the car, Micheal Davis, began shooting at Virginia State Police, who then returned fire. You can also hear gunfire in this portion of radio communications between troopers and dispatchers. In this audio, it's unclear who is firing these shots. We also want to warn you, this audio may be hard to listen to.
We need a shield. We need a shield.
We hear the shots fired.
New York State Police said Tatiana David was found dead outside the car with an apparent gunshot wound, but an autopsy will determine how she died. Micheal Davis was rushed to the hospital, fighting for his life. For hours, as night turned to morning, authorities were on the scene collecting evidence. Virginia State Police also found a firearm inside the SUV. The troopers involved in the shooting have been placed on administrative leave as part of state police policy. New York State Police also told us an autopsy was planned for David's body later today. And at last check, Virginia State Police also told us the suspect is still at a Fairfax hospital in critical condition, and charges are still pending in this case. Live and on your side in Chesterfield County this evening, Desiree Montilla, NBC 12 News.
All right, thank you, Des.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Anyway.
So it is what it is.